I remember giving these poppy things to the kids for Christmas. Loved them. Loved them more than the games. Let's put my glasses down. Now I've got everything unpacked, let's read the instructions. It's come reasonably well packed, and some of the ends, some of the stuff was inside the mattress. And the mattress went through that window. I'm not sure it'll go through that window when the windows are in. I think it's gone through there because the frame's missing. So, yeah. And it was a squeeze as well, there's another thing. So here's my review of Sofa Bed Barn Sofa Bed, and it is the Belvedere Sofa Bed. Now, I'm not being paid by Sofa Bed Barn, I've not been thrown a bung, I've not been done anything, they don't know I'm doing a review. So I have nothing to gain by bigging them up. I've bought the bed by doing some research and listening, watching reviews, reading reviews and all that sort of stuff. Now I need to read the instructions. So, take the two sides of the wooden legs with the black metal hinges already attached and place them on the floor approximately 1.8 metres apart. Then place the long front and back wooden rails on the floor and follow the letters A, B, C, D to join the long rails. The C goes to C.
A goes to A.
Hey?
Hey, there you go.
I don't want to over tighten it. I don't know how tight it should be. I don't think it should be too tight. Should be Goldilocks, just right. Tighten them up later. So there we go. Look, in. Tighten them up. Now tighten the other side up and my knees are. Oh. It's tea break time. It's only taken me an hour to do this. The hardest thing is getting it through the door, window, porthole. I'm going to try the click-clacky bit out in a bit. Need some nuts and bolts. Well, I've got some bolts and nuts, but I haven't got anything to tie them up with. So I need to, let's see if I can borrow some of that stuff. Tea time. My time for the cops again. This is coming round. Mark's getting a bit frustrated. This is coming around a bit too quickly. We're in Mark's new passion wagon. Actually, this is not bad, mate, is it? Is it going to work all the way there?
I hope so. That's why I bought you, to push.
Oh, smells nice. Father Christmas has been here.
Hey, come on, Chris.
I bought you some cobs.
Sort the lads out. Cheap, 20 baht.
What have we got there? Pork? Who's
Me, you and Dom. Alright, so.
Marcus?
Big deal. Big deal.
Whose is that one? Sauce, bacon, egg, Tom, Marcus.
Whose is this one, Chris?
Egg, stuffing and apple. I'll tell you that, that's Ben's.
Ben. Why are you back on the old one, Ben? Engineer. No, that's a mix up of the two eggs. This is Ben, the engineer, not John.
Toolbox. It's not mine, by the way. Oh, there's one missing. I wanted to borrow some tools, and I said to Dom, I need something that. He goes, it's 13 mil. Do you know what? You're spot on. Wow. Oh, it's 13 mil, mate. How good's that? Anyway, I've got my 13 mil spanner. I'm going to do some damage on the damage. Wrong words. Let me put the rest of the bed together. Right, stage 3, here we go. Take the 2 slatted metal frame sections, and these are both identical. Oh, that's good. Hey, what's going on here? Oh, why doesn't that go in there? Whoa, whoa, whoa! Oh, getting this in. All these people that do a DIY fit out, I understand your issues now. I'm beginning to understand them because, let's get a bit of light, because you're having to move, it's like a game of Tetris, you're having to move something to do something. Oh, just. There's Dom putting some stuff on the dinette.
Hold your table tight.
Oh, hold the table when that goes into a bed.
Bed position. One more there.
And one more there, look.
2 legs.
What are you on about now?
Looking on your finger, your desk.
Can you spot me in that other one?
I don't know, you're in camouflage, you can only see faces.
I know. Look left.
Oh yeah! How comes he's got like a red feather in his hat next to you?
Different regiments. Right now, click, clack.
You're not allowed no beards or anything, obviously.
Not at the time, no. You can now.
What, nowadays you're allowed?
You're allowed to do it now. So that's clicked. You know, you're clacking. One job.
Oh, it's gone to the good old.
Of course it does, it's made for narrowboats. There is my click, clack, Belvedere sofa bed, and it fits absolutely perfect underneath the gunnels, look. I reckon it'll come closer to here, look. Just there. And I've got plenty of room to move into the office. I haven't put the soft touch on simply because the lads are still working in here, and it just protects it a little bit. And there's 2 cushions on the inside as well, so you know, and there's a little drawer underneath. The difficulty, I think, of building this bed, and it was easy, was I'm in a narrowboat. There's no room. I had to play Tetris all the time in order for me to build something. So, points to note.
Don't have a narrowboat.
Points, yeah, don't get narrowboat. Yeah. Get something wider. It fits nicely in here, and it's easy to click, clack. Get your big arms in.
I need a wide lens.
That looks great. All the doors are fitted now. Our doors handles aren't on, but I mean, that's pretty special, that sort of stuff. That's workmanship.
Ladies, Chris.
See you later, Mark.
Hello, mate. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for subscribing.
See you next week.
Ciao, Papa. Oh, I think that'll look quite nice there, lying in bed. What's time? Although I can't see the hands of the clock. I might need to paint them a different colour, a fluorescent colour or something. One of the things when you're buying a boat, one of the principal things that you look for on a boat is the toilet. Other ones are what type of layout, if it's a traditional layout or if it's a reverse layout. And the toilet itself is a go or no go for some people. For example, if I saw a boat, a second-hand boat that I wanted to buy, and it was a pump-out toilet, I would dismiss it straight away. That's a non-starter. And I suppose for other people, that's the thing they need. They want a pump-out toilet because they want the boat to be almost like a home. And I get it. Having done my background analysis, for me, the toilet I'm going to use is a composting toilet, or what they call it now is a separator toilet. Sat in my bathroom, my shower room, and it's just, everything about it is starting to take shape and look fantastic. I had the 2 bob bits yesterday, lasted about 18 hours, and you know, I went to the toilet, flush, went away, and now I haven't got a flush and forget toilet. So at some stage or other, if you get the 2 bob bits, you do have to deal with that yourself, and that's a little bit of a drama. And if you get DMV, of course my sink's here, not very nice, I get it. But these are the considerations that I've wanted to do on this boat. There's always a reason why. And that why comes with something called compromise. And living on a boat and this lifestyle, there are plenty of compromises you need to do. So, the homework. By 2050, this country, the UK, may well be suffering from water shortages. Outlets, business outlets, McDonald's being a prime example, where you go to the toilet and it's a waterless urinal. And they don't smell, they're fantastic to be fair, and it says on the wall, well, this toilet saves however many gallons of water, million gallons for example, million gallons of water. And they can put that on their CSR page on their website, CSR, Corporate Social Responsibility. And it allows people to understand that McDonald's wants to be an eco-friendly business. And I think that's a great thing. 9 litres of water is flushed every time you visit the toilet. So that's something that I am mindful of. There is one thing about living in the UK, we are a rainy type of environment, and generally speaking there's lots of water around. However, April showers, I don't remember an awful lot of rain happening throughout that whole month. So are we living in an unsustainable lifestyle where water is becoming more precious and our population is increasing, therefore the more water that's being used? And I don't think we're in a position where we can absolutely take this for granted. Whose responsibility is it to sort it out? Anglian Water were found guilty of putting raw sewage in the River Stour, and on the 23rd of April the BBC wrote an article about this issue where thousands of people took to the streets or took to the waterways to complain about the raw sewage being pumped into the River Stour. So question to ask, is it cheaper for Anglian Water to pay the fine rather than fixing the issue through infrastructure costs and all the rest of it? You see, on a boat there are a number of different toilets you can use. As you all know, there's the incinerator toilet, the pump out toilet, cassette toilet, and then you have the separator style toilet. So the boat, when you build it, the setup along the waterways allows that to happen. In a house, not so. I read a book, Global Strategic Trends, 6th edition. That states in there that the UK or the world is on course for water shortages, droughts, and excessive rainfall. All of these problems are becoming a threat, and we don't know the end result of that threat. If we don't change our thinking about water, then there may have to be a change that's going to affect our lives in a more drastic way. 20% of our water in the UK is wasted through leaks. Who's responsible for fixing those leaks? Is it the water companies? And who's holding them to account? The average person in this country uses 140 litres of water, as they put it, are wasted, just poured down the drain. Now, so that's probably toilets or running the tap when you clean your teeth and all that sort of stuff. We're wasting an awful lot of water. And I don't know the answer. Well, I do, because further down on my research, I think it came from the Guardian. There is a simple fact, is we can ration water. I'll read from my notes. Water companies all identify the same thing as their biggest operating risk: climate change. By 2040, more than half of our summers are expected to be hotter than they were in the 2003 heatwave, leading to more water shortages and potentially 50 to 80% less water in some rivers in the summer. Oh, that's not a good thing for us boaters, is it? There's a risk. The population of the UK is expected to rise from 67 million to 75 million by 2050, which increases the supply or the demand for water. The average person's daily water use is 140 litres. Currently, about 1/3 of our water is lost through leakages. Okay, this is 1/3, which is 30 odd percent. Global strategic trends state it's 20%, so maybe 25%. So considering what I've found and what I've understood, the principal reason for me composting or going to the separated toilet is I'm in charge of my own waste. I'm in charge of how often I empty it and the amount of water that's taken out that tank at the front of the boat and how it's used. And I want primarily that water to be used for drinking, cooking and showering. The quicker that water tank is emptied, the more I have to fill it up. And that will determine some of my factors of how I live and where I've got to go and all that sort of planning assumption type stuff. In 2010, there was some form of discussion within the building industry about something other than flushing toilets. So composting was discussed at that time, and that was in order to reduce water wastage by 18%. The need for cheap, environmentally friendly sanitation has received widespread attention in recent years, spurred in part by a list of 17 substantial development goals set by the United Nations in 2015. Clean water and sanitation is goal number 6, and the list lays out several series of targets and indicators to be achieved by 2030. I don't know anything about that. The government hasn't mentioned anything about that. Is that because 2030 is 8 years down the line and somebody else might be in government then, so it's not our problem? I'm not sure that that's the case, but there's probably a ring of truth in there. I'm going to read this because there's lots of big words. So we're talking about the chemical toilets. The main components of a chemical toilet, or the chemicals that go in the toilet, are formal, that's written on the bottom, and also glue, that's written on the bottom of the screen as well, and some ammonium compounds. Mind you, they also contained citric acid fragrances to make it smell nice, dyes and salt, another word that I need to miss over. The first 3 substances are microbicides, and they aren't exactly harmless. As well as triggering allergies, direct contact can cause irritation of the skin, eyes and respiratory tract, and even burns. So if you're going to go to one of those chemical toilet LSAM points, I'll be putting goggles, face mask, gloves on. Another drawback with all these chemicals is when you push them down the LSAM point, doesn't actually get rid of the chemical stuff that's in them LSAM points. When you pour the cassette fluid down the LSAM point, all those chemical treatments, all that chemical stuff that's in the cassette goes into the sewage treatment plant, and if the sewage treatment plant is working correctly, all the microorganisms that are required to break down the feces, break down the poo, those chemicals kills them off, and it requires an awful lot of water to sort of dilute those chemicals to a point where it doesn't actually ruin the microbicides and the microorganisms. I certainly didn't realise that, and it's something that I didn't want to do. Clearly the composting or the separating toilet appears to be big on the eco front. But then of course you have to handle your own poo, and you have to kind of get used to handling your poo, other people's poo, and if you have visitors, people that you don't really know poo, you've kind of got to get used to it and get over it. And that's a massive change to our culture in the developed world, where, you know, flushing down, you flush the toilet, get rid of anything and let somebody else deal with it, or let the system deal with it. That, you know, that's to deal with it yourself. That's a massive change of mind, unless of course you are an enthusiast in that sort of stuff. And let's not forget, poo used to be dumped into the rivers and sea. Because poo is full of phosphates and nitrates, it created dead spots in the rivers and seas. So poo isn't particularly good in the ecosystem. So to summarise, there's positives and negatives, and there's different viewpoints of all the different toilets that you can get on a narrowboat. The king of the crop, if you like, is the incinerator toilet. Now, the disadvantage to the incinerator toilet is they use an awful lot of gas or electricity. If you have an electric incinerator and you have a 400 amp hour battery, or you have a series of batteries that add up to 400 amp hours, for one deposit and you incinerate it, that uses 200 amp hours of your battery. 2 poos, dead battery. That uses an awful lot of electric, and I don't know about gas, but I do know it uses an awful lot of gas. The reason why I know about the electric is because Mark, the owner of the Fit Out Pontoon, has put a electric incinerator on his boat. So if you're in a marina and you've got a incinerator toilet, whether it's gas or electric, then that's probably a good thing. And certainly if it works for you, then absolutely fine. If you have a pump out, the compromise with pump out is it takes an awful lot of room under your bed. Now you can halve that room by getting a smaller tank, and then you've still got some room under your bed. Okay, half the tank size means you have to empty the pump out more often. So you're relying again on the pump out working. I think the pump outs are great if you're on a marina, or if you don't plan to move up and down the canals. I know people have done it, but they've also said it's a little bit of a disadvantage if you go to a marina and the pump out's not pumping out because it's broken, and then you buy a porta potty perhaps as a secondary toilet, but then you've got 2 toilets on your boat, and it takes up valuable space. Again, I'm not knocking it, but the reason why I'm not going pump out is because of through life costs of the pump out. I don't want to go there. Okay, so now we've got the cassette toilets, and I was when I organised this, went to speak to Mark about the design of this boat, the cassette toilet was what I was having. But about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago now, the swingometer of, in my mind, those separating toilets looked more like a toilet. They were more aesthetically pleasing. And I thought to myself, you know, I don't want to deal necessarily with toxic chemicals, whilst I didn't know all about the cause and effect of toxic chemicals in the Elsan and in the cassette toilets. I kind of wanted to be more self-sufficient. And again, if the Elsan point's broken, you need to empty your cassettes. And people get generally more than one. So by the time you've bought the toilet, and by the time you bought a couple of cassettes, and then you bought your blue or your pink and all the other chemicals, and it's faff. Didn't want to do it. So I've opted for composting. You have to sit down. It is a sit down thing for men and women, and any guests I have, it's a sit down toilet, full stop. I can remember as a kid, I used to go as far away from the toilet as I possibly could and still aim it in the pan. I'm sure a lot of boys do that. But I've got to teach my little lads, no, it's a sit down. And that's, you know, once that bit's learnt and people accept that that's the way it is, I'll let you know how I get on. I didn't want to annoy anyone with the toilet thing. Everybody has the toilet that's fitted for their needs, for their requirements. I don't know if I'm making the right decision, but it's a decision that I've worked through, I've planned. I am prepared for anything that happens with that. There's lots of people with composting toilets, and I'm just going through my homework and the reasons why I have chosen that. And you know, it's through academic research, really. I didn't want to do the toxicity of the cassette toilets, and I didn't want the through life cost of pump out, and I certainly couldn't afford an incinerator. But there we go, that's life, isn't it? And you live by your decisions you make, and that's the way it is. So what's gone on this week? Well, Dom's fitted all the trim on the saloon area, the kitchen area, and the dinette area, and pretty much the bedroom's finished other than the front door. The lights, the lighty up and the lighty across. Well, if that's going to get fitted next week, that will be great. This week, next week. But painting, that's come on leaps and bounds. There's been 2 coats of that anti-rust type of paint, and Mark today, Mark the painter, he has been giving it its first coat of prime. More prime to happen, and then the top coat. I just need to be mindful. I want to keep that a little bit more under wraps. So until next week, thanks for watching, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing. Get a laugh from Dom, but I'll see you next week.